Hello everyone, it's me, Risky Boots, and welcome back to my channel. I'm here to give you guys kind of my, what is it? You clicked on it because it was saying that Armarouge is boring. Armarouge is not as exciting as other releases. However, Armarouge himself is not the problem. The biggest problem is something kind of bigger, and I'll talk about that more in the video. And I didn't write anything down, so this is just like I was walking, I was like, you know what? There's a reason why I haven't done this. So yeah, here's an Armarouge game I recorded. I just recorded and I was like, oh, let me just talk over it. So let's look at it. Let's go to replay. So in this game, I did a decent amount of damage. That was pretty good. So just to kind of give you guys kind of where this video is going in the direction, there'll be some Armarouge gameplay in the background, and I'll be here not commentating on that, kind of commentating like the situation that Armarouge kind of fell into and why I think that Armarouge is really boring. And Armarouge, well, at the time of this recording, a lot of you guys should be, I'll turn it down. A lot of you guys should be able to be picking up Armarouge now. He should be available in the store and things like that. And I think Armarouge as a design character-wise, I think like totally cute. His kit, totally bad. Not totally bad, but pretty not good. So the way that Unite has been kind of shaped and molded these past releases is we've been having some I think this kind of started a little bit like ever since Mewtwo came out, as I can remember it, like we've been having these big Pokemon releases where the Pokemon just comes out completely unbalanced and completely unfair. And ever since then, like it's just been like the anxiety of the next Pokemon, like, oh my god, this Pokemon gonna be busted, this Pokemon gonna be busted, it's gonna shape the meta. And so when we talk about like meta shaping games, so I came from MOBAs before, so I've came from Overwatch, I've come from what is it, I was a big Smite player, I was a beta tester for Smite. I have over like 30,000 hours in that game, like way too much. And I stopped playing to play Pokemon Unite because I really enjoyed Pokemon as a franchise. I thought it was really cool to have Pokemon as a MOBA. I played, what is it? It's called Paragon, before Paragon got disbanded and eaten by Fortnite. Like, you know, so I played a lot of these MOBAs. But I would say Pokemon Unite is one that is completely interesting, as that one, it is very apparent that this is not about the gameplay experience when it comes to releasing all these Pokemon. And so Armarouge as a Pokemon, and I didn't realize it until I started playing Smite again or playing other MOBAs again, in particular, was that Pokemon Unite is really designed to be very bursty. And Pokemon that do tick damage over time are not really favored. And so a good example is, I remember when Lapras came out. Lapras have a passive called Shell Armor, I'm pretty sure. And with Shell Armor, after a certain number of damage, Lapras just negates the rest of it. And I thought this was awesome, an awesome gameplay mechanic to stop the meta from being so bursty. Because we came from like a bursty Mr. Mime meta. Oh, there we go. We came from like this bursty Mr. Mime meta to a bursty Absol meta, and then we're not going to talk about Zacian and how long that lasted because people were picking up Zacian. So it was one of those things where when Lapras came out, it was a breath of fresh air because we literally, one, we didn't get defenders for almost like a year. The last defender we got for Lapras was maybe, and I'm talking out of my ear right now, was maybe Trevenant. I'm pretty sure it was like a long time. And when we did get defenders, they were like Greedent, right? It was just like Greedent. And so when they came out like, you know, this Lapras, I was like, oh, they're making Pokemon to kind of counteract this bursty meta. But then later on, you know, to push people towards more of the ADC. So we stopped seeing Greninja, we stopped seeing Cinderace, and it was all about blowing up your opponent before you get a chance to see them. And I didn't like this because there's no counterplay for bursty metas, and there was no drawback. People were just like showing up, boom, you're dead. And in Pokemon Unite, we have the bushes, where inside the bushes, like it's very common, you know, don't go in the bushes, it's dangerous out there. Where, you know, people just kind of camp in the bushes. The map is not that big. And so people just kind of camp in the bushes and just, you know, blow people up in like one heartbeat. And then we started getting Pokemon like, what is it, Gyarados. I think Gyarados was an amazing Pokemon. And in the idea behind it is awesome. You have a Pokemon that extremely does nothing for a long time, that needs to be babysat and taken care of. Same thing with Larvitar. Tyranitar Larvitar. You have these Pokemon that, you know, are in their baby forms essentially, and it takes a long time to come up. Dragonite is not the same, you know, as these other Pokemon. Put this controller away. keep touching it. It's not the same as other Pokemon because in Dratini you can do a good amount, but you know, these Pokemon are designed, you know, in mind where you are a late game focused character, and when you're late game, you're getting good. Like you're getting good, and so the payoff, you know, you sacrifice the early game, or you're really playing with the early game. You're really trying to figure it out, which is kind of like what makes a good player. What is it? It just encourages you to play a little bit smarter. However, what is it? You know, we see, you know, with and I'll go back to Lapras. With Lapras's damage when it first came out was very, very high, and I get that. That's fine. But what they did was not only did they turn on Lapras's damage, but they turned down its passive, and I was confused why. Because the healing and sustain, sure, maybe too much, but it's a defender. Its job is to defend. Why would you nerf its ability to defend and also do damage? What is it supposed to do? And if you haven't been playing Pokemon Unite, the time I'm recording, because Armarouge is coming out, you don't see Lapras anymore. I barely see Mamoswine. Pokemon like Mamoswine is probably the best defender in the game, or whatever. Where, you know, literally its job is to disrupt, stun, and do all kinds of things, whatever. Which is kind of what a defender should do. When Mamoswine first came out in the game, it just took him forever. I think there's a Mamoswine now on the screen. It takes level 9 to evolve. Why? So there's this balancing issue when it comes to just kind of bursty Pokemon and bursty metas. And so there's a whole nother area we can get into when we're talking about the actual player base. But really I'm talking about the meta that Armarouge fell into, or the game that Armarouge fell into. Armarouge as a Pokemon focuses on, in one of its builds, the Armor Cannon, focuses on bursty attack. And it has a stun inside this burst attack, which is fine, which is totally fine. However, the thing about it is, there are Pokemon that do basic damage that are much more impactful and also much more scarier than Armarouge. Armarouge has literally gotten like the worst of everyone's kit or whatever, and then they kind of threw it in there. The best part about Armarouge, what I have seen, is kind of like the flame charge, like fire spin build, where you're putting yourself at risk. So you have to put, you know, Aeos Cookie. But at that point, you're not an attacker. You're a different type of attacker, but it's kind of like a pretending to be an all-arounder. When I would just rather have someone like Garchomp who could do the same thing a little bit better, where you're just chipping people down over time. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like, does the Armor Cannon do a lot of damage? Not compared to, like, you know, Pikachu or something else. Like, not really. Pikachu has a full combo and a low cooldown that is more impactful, holds people, you know, together or whatever. And also, we're not even gonna I'll get into this. The best thing about Pokemon Unite, well, not the best thing, but the most important thing about Pokemon Unite is Rayquaza. A Pokemon's viability, usability, and like everything about it only matters at the end, the last 2 minutes. And that ult that you have to save for that last fight is game changing. That's why you see Pokemon like Hoopa. I mean, Hoopa has something in his kit, but also like Hoopa, Sableye can turn games. Like people, you see, Blaziken for the longest was just not a good character because it did not have an ult that could impact the Rayquaza fight. It just wasn't important. You line someone up like a Pokemon like, what is it, Machamp? Never seen around at all. But if you don't take Machamp seriously, literally he will wipe out your team of Rayquaza and you'll win. Easily. Like, it's a threat. Not the whole game, just that one time. And you just need one slip up and you lost the entire game. Same thing with Venusaur. Don't stand too close. What is it? Mewtwo, busted, but still, an entire team ult which stuns and can still Rayquaza, completely busted. Zacian, CC Immune can run there and just slice people down. And these are Pokemon that are busted, right? It's one of those things, even like Cramorant. Cramorant can completely like area block an entire zone. But Armarouge's ult just doesn't really feel that impactful. It's like a double stun and like a pop-up. It has a channel time, which is a little bit slow. So you have to time it right. It takes a long time to time. And also, like I said, the flame charge build armor cannon, you can try to like do the armor cannon, but the armor cannon is just not that, it's just really not that reliable, because if you hit, it explodes. But if you hit someone, it explodes in sight. Okay, so that's fine. If you miss, it explodes. So what this means is you're trying to aim this thing so it can blow up and also hit Rayquaza and just do a bunch of things. Like it's just not very situational. And the charge time is too long. So it takes you too long to do damage, and also it's too high risk because you can't do anything with it. So when I'm playing Armarouge, it's just not that exciting. I'm not that impactful. I just feel like I'm waiting also when I play the flame charge build, I'm like, am I gonna die in this exchange? Because I'm built as an attacker. I mean, I built Aeol's Cookie on him to kind of help, but it's one of those things where it really just depends on on the level gap at that point if I'm able to snowball. Because you have to put yourself at risk, and that's not what an attacker is. So, what is it? I would say Armarouge probably should have been an all-arounder. As an attacker, to fix him, I would honestly say maybe buff his damage on his armor cannon. I think the flame charge one is fine. It's a good Pokemon. It's a good Pokemon. Would I spend money on it? Absolutely not. Would I spend coins on it? Yes. Will it change the game? No. It's engage is its escape. It doesn't really have any sustain. Its passive is okay. It also has like a scatter shot that's like the size of like what? Like a regular comb. Like it's not even like game changing. It's fine. It's not good. It's not anything special. But yeah, but that is kind of my whole thing about the game. And also a quick side note, which you should know, and I can make this a whole nother video about Pokemon Unite players when they see something like Armarouge. So we can check right here. What is it? Oops, sorry, click the wrong button. There we go. So here in this game, I got 13 KOs and I did about 95,000 damage, which is pretty normal, which is fine. My teammate was amazing. My teammates were all great. So everyone in this whole game was great. No one did bad. It was a really good. You can rewatch it if you're listening to me the whole time. But my whole thing about this is, if you look at our team, right, it is a Venusaur, it is a Delphox, and it's 3 attackers on the team, right? And so that is also another issue when it comes to Pokemon Unite and releasing these Pokemon, is that you sometimes have people that want to play new Pokemon, or you have people that want to play certain roles, but the player base does not set these Pokemon to succeed. So you end up having people that are a little bit bitter, that like, oh, I want to play Armarouge. And then it feels like, oh, okay, well, if I can't play Armarouge, I'm just gonna play an attacker and just kind of like, hopefully win the game or hopefully not. Like, and it's we can talk about Pokemon Unite interface another day. Overall, Armarouge, welcome to Pokemon Unite. Is it a good Pokemon? When I see it on the other team, am I nervous? Absolutely not. When I'm playing it, am I having a good time? No, because I'm just waiting the whole time. You play Armor Cannon, you're waiting. Oh, you're waiting to shoot somebody, miss or hit, and you're like, okay, no follow-up. Or play Flame Charge build, and you're like, all right, I'm here doing this damage. Well, am I gonna die? Oh, I lived. Yay, that was lucky of me. And then you have Pokemon that are supporters that can help us Pokemon, but supporters could be doing support things with Pokemon that actually need support. Just my 2 cents. You let me know what you think, and enjoy Armarouge. It's a good Pokemon, not the best meta for it. Peace out.